do you guys ever have, like, I've never had what they call a bucket list. Like, you're young, Morgan, but like...
My bucket list would be like places I want to travel is kind of
I never really had a bucket list. I mean, I've pretty much done whatever. Is there anything you want to do in your life that you haven't done, Joe?
It's going to sound
Jump out of a
stupid.
plane?
I want to go ice fishing.
Once again, everybody, welcome to the TomCast. I'm the Tominator, Tom Cherichello. It is Thursday, February 20th, 2025. Hello, Morgan. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Big Joe is here. Hey, Joe.
How you doing? How you doing, Tom?
We got some random topics to talk about today. The first one is, I've never been a big fan of the program. I watched it when there's like one of my favorite actors or actresses or musical groups, but Saturday Night Live, we talked about last week, they had their 50th anniversary special, 3 hours, and I did watch it actually, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, you watched all 3 hours. Wow.
I watched it, in clips.
Okay.
And Steve Martin did the opening monologue, and he was pretty funny.
Yeah.
They had Paul Simon and Sabrina Carpenter were like the very opening before the monologue, what they call the cold open. Mm-hmm. And they did a duet of a famous Paul Simon song called The Boxer.
Was it good?
Or no, Homeward Bound, not The Boxer, Homeward Bound. And yeah, it was funny. So he goes...
That's going way back.
Yeah,
Homewood.
Home where my love lies waiting. So he goes, I performed this on this show in 1976 with George Harrison. And Sabrina Carpenter goes, I wasn't even born then, and my parents weren't even born then.
Is this when Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively were there and they called him out in the crowd and he kind of almost like made a joke about his wife's sexual harassment case?
Yeah, he did.
And everyone's like, that's not in good taste. Would she even sexually harass then if you're joking about it?
Taylor Swift didn't show.
Was she supposed to?
Well, I mean, she's been on the show. She's been a host, a musical guest. I don't know. There's speculation that maybe her and Blake Lively or she didn't show because Blake Lively was there.
Yeah.
The Jack Nicholson show, did
Yeah, he did.
I read it in the MSN. I didn't see the show, but I read it.
Jack Nicholson is, he's pretty old.
I think he had a Yankees hat.
He showed up. He had like a beret on.
Yeah.
He introduced Adam Sandler.
Okay.
Adam Sandler did a song that was pretty good about, how Saturday Night Live was so good to so many people's careers.
Do they get good ratings still?
Well, a show's on 11:30 on a Saturday night to 1 in the morning. So
pretty late.
When you define good, like
it's usually when people are out.
People are out. Like who's watching?
Kind of bad time. They should do like 2 to 3.
But for years, like if you go way back in the history of television, there was nothing even on.
I was still the
at that time.
Yeah.
Like the TV went off, and then they started putting like really like repeats on or junk programming. So-called original programming, is like Saturday Night Live was original programming at that time. That was unusual. Mm-hmm. So I guess to answer your question, they get good ratings for that time slot, but really not that many people are watching.
Right.
I've never ever seen Saturday Night Live in my entire life.
Really?
I've never watched it once.
I've probably seen a couple.
If it's somebody I like on, like when Selena Gomez hosted, I watched, or if it's an athlete like Tom Brady, I watched. Mm-hmm. But really, that's your
or like you said, you'll watch clips of it online later.
If you're home on Saturday night watching that, you're hurting. No, there was one controversial thing. A long time skit that they do is called Black Jeopardy, where they have a black host, and the categories are all like relate to black culture. And
they still do that?
Yeah, they do it. And so they had Tom Hanks wearing a MAGA hat, red Trump hat, and he's got a beard. He's like supposed to be one of these Trump people.
Yeah.
And the host goes over to shake his hand, and Tom Hanks pulls because
he's pretending he's Trump and he's afraid of black people. I did see that.
I've even seen it. I remember, and I like to think it wasn't racist where I grew up, but like I did see when I was a kid, some people would shake a black person's hand and then wipe their hand.
I'm sure back in the day that happened when racism was like more common. But now to like sit there and try to make fun of saying our current president is racist, like, can you guys just shut the fuck up?
But that wasn't funny. That's my point.
It's not funny.
I try to be, as I said 100 times, in the middle politically.
Yeah.
You know, but liberals are like,
they take it too far.
I mean, that's saying that, you know, Trump wouldn't shake a black person, or a Trump supporter wouldn't shake a black person's hand.
Why are we finding that funny? It's not.
It's not funny.
Yeah.
I agree. It's insulting. It's insulting to Trump supporters and blacks, in my opinion. Yeah. But they took criticism for that joke.
Yeah.
But all in all, I think all the critics say it was pretty good.
Hanks took the criticism. Didn't they come on him? Yeah. I said he was in one of those.
He hates Trump.
He was in one of those articles too. Little blurbs.
There were some no-shows that, like, they wonder, like, people who were, like Dan Aykroyd was one of the original, what they called not ready for primetime players when the show premiered in 1975, and he didn't show up.
Yeah.
And Bill Hader was a long-time, cast member. They don't know where these people were, but that was, like, in the media wondering what happened to them. This 50-year anniversary. I still can't believe I said last week. I mean, that's 50. I was a young kid when that show came on. My older brother loved it. He would watch it with his friends, and I was never into it. But I mean, that was 50 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
Moving on from that, in hockey, they had a break in the hockey season for the last 2 weeks to have what they call a Four Nations tournament. It's the United States, Canada, Finland, and Sweden. So the best players from those, they're playing a round-robin tournament. Now, the finals are tonight. It's U.S. versus Canada for the championship of this tournament. And they didn't know. They never did it before. They thought it was going to be a dud, but the ratings are really high. People are into it.
Is this the fight that happened?
Yeah, because what happened is they played, because Trump, the Canadians are like, Trump's talking about they should become a state, or there were tariffs against Canada, which I'll get to tariffs in a minute. So the Canadians booed the United States national anthem. So they knew what was coming. The next game, the USA just came out fighting. Like, they had like 3 fights in the first 10 seconds. It was crazy. But if I was gambling, I don't gamble, but I would have bet on the USA in that game, and they did win.
And did they crush them or something?
Did we lose? We didn't lose any games, did we? Or did we?
I'm not sure, but we made the finals. But the U.S. has some players injured, so it's going to be interesting. That should be fun to watch. I may try to catch some of that at a bar or wherever I may be. But
we're going to talk about what you're doing tonight?
That's been going on for a
Is
little
that on your
while.
agenda?
Do you guys ever have, like, I've never had what they call a bucket list. Like, you're young, Morgan, but like.
My bucket list would be like places I want to travel is kind of where
I never
I'm
really
at.
had a bucket list. I mean, I've pretty much done whatever. Is there anything you want to do in your life that you haven't done, Joe?
It's going to sound
Jump out of a
stupid.
plane?
I want to go ice fishing.
Really?
I really
You
do.
never did that?
No, never.
Where you come from, you never did that?
No. They didn't have shanty. I mean, once or twice, Narragansett Bay froze over once or twice, and you were crazy walking across it. We used to skate on it a little bit when we were younger, but it didn't. And as we got older, though, then I lost. I wouldn't skate out. Sometimes we play hockey, but you couldn't catch any fish in there. You had to go. You really had to go up to New Hampshire where you had pike and muskies and that stuff in Wisconsin. Pike, muskies, walleye is the big fish. Tyler, I'm supposed to go to. I mean, that wouldn't be a bad trip. We know a lot of people in Green Bay. Zip up there, and so he says, "Look, I'll probably go out in the shanty and whack down some moonshine."
I know. I wanted to go to Vegas. I did that. I wanted to go to Hawaii. I did that when I lived in Las Vegas for almost 2 years. So I went. It's a lot closer, obviously.
Yeah.
So I did that. I went to California. I'd never been to California until I moved to Vegas.
I'd love to go to Napa.
Because you could drive. It's, across, I was doing like 150 miles an hour across the there was a cop there, like, what are you doing here? In the middle of the desert, there was a cop. I'm like, he goes, that's why I'm here. Because
People like you.
You're not the only one that does that.
That's funny.
I've never been on a cruise. That's something I kind of want to do.
I've never been on a cruise either.
I don't have a lot of desire to go to Europe, but I like to.
I do. I want to go to Amalfi Coast, Thailand, Japan.
Yeah, that type of stuff. But I'm not wild about. I don't know, like France. I could give a shit less about going to France.
The cheese in Paris is really fucking good. I only went there for one day, and I would love to go back for like multiple days.
Well, I had perform marriage ceremony, check. I did that.
Well, yeah.
So what's the next thing you're about to check off your
Catch a
list?
baseball.
Yeah, I never caught a baseball. Like
I never have either.
I used to have Yankee season tickets, and like they have a little cup holder. Or I was at Yankee Stadium. Joe and I went last summer. But they have these cup holders for your beer, like it's like in the movie theater kind of thing, the same thing. So my beer's in that. I have to go to the bathroom, so I leave my beer there, and I come back and my beer's spilled, and I'm like, "What happened?" And they go,
"Oh,
a ball hit your beer." I'm like, "I would have been right there."
Oh
I never caught a foul ball. I always,
Yeah.
Even Joe and I go to the spring training, which I want to mention that for I don't know how many viewers we have that are outside of Florida, but if you're a baseball fan, or even if you're not even a big fan, spring training in Florida is great. Yeah. The weather's great. You can hit like a whole bunch of different stadiums around the coast.
Yeah.
And you get right close to the players.
Yeah.
It's not cheap, but it's cheaper than if you went to their real games during the regular season. So everybody out there, if you're up north freezing right now, come on down to spring training and we'll watch some baseball.
It's a lot of reason why I want to even go to spring training to catch up. Even if I got to hand it off to a little kid, I just want to say, call one.
Me too.
I actually want to catch one.
Me too.
Have it lined at me and catch
That
it.
is on my bucket list.
I've always wanted to play with baby monkeys or like ride an elephant.
Go to the U.S. Open. I did that to tennis. I've been to U.S. Open tennis. One thing I have it's very difficult to get tickets. I'd like to go to the Masters, the golf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's even if you have unlimited money,
It's
it's hard to get tickets.
I've had mixed feelings about that because if you go there, you're only going to watch 3 or 4 holes because you can't move around, especially the way I walk now. It's like stay, and you can't see what's going on in all the other holes.
I've been to the Kentucky Derby. I've been to the Super Bowl, which I recommended, even if you're not a fan of horse racing or football. Those are both really great events. New Orleans, if you've never been to New Orleans, it's like no other city. It's a little dirty.
I got to do that.
But, there's so many things. The food is great. The bars don't close. I mean, there's museums and tours and all kinds of stuff to do. It's really a great city. Like, you guys on the corner playing music all the time. Everybody's just having a fun time except that terrible incident that happened at the Sugar Bowl with those people who were killed. It's just a fun place.
Regarding bucket list, let me go back to that. The reason I even got into anything about a bucket list was because of that movie with Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, that's
where they all had their bucket list things. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I even would have thought about a bucket list, but I said, Jesus, what would I do to make they had their own bucket list.
Right.
And then I said, what the hell?
Another thing was...
obviously,
a lot of people have on their
$1 million scratch ticket.
A lot of people have on their list. I did it in Vegas. I didn't want to do it. My buddy dragged me to jump out of a plane.
You did that?
Yeah, I did years ago.
Did you get to record it?
No.
Oh, dang. I would love to watch that.
I think in a weird way, I'd like to do that, too.
That's
you know
not
who
on
does
my
that?
list.
I didn't know what she was saying. Jamie that works with us.
Really?
She's
done it many times.
Yeah, that's
Jamie
just like
has?
not on my list.
I wouldn't
I'm good.
visualize. I would visualize any one of us doing it way before Jamie.
Yeah.
Jamie would be the last one I would think would do it.
I think they're going to do it again soon. If you guys want to cross that off.
Absolutely
but does she goes on someone's back where it's 2 of them going at once, or does she?
Yeah,
go
you jump
by
usually with a
herself?
person.
Yeah, but after a while, don't you get to go? Do you go on?
Just
solo?
my luck. I would just splat on the ground and my parachute wouldn't work.
I was terrified that the parachute wouldn't open.
Yeah, you never know.
It happens.
Ugh.
I'm thinking what's left though of things that
There's a shitload of things I haven't done.
Well, tonight I'm going to do open mic night at the comedy club. Our local comedy club is called McCurdy's. folks who are listening in Sarasota at 9 o'clock.
I will record it if I'm able to, and we'll make sure we post it.
I will say this: I really try not to use profanity in my everyday life. Like sometimes we all do if something happens, but I will be dirty tonight. Just letting you know.
I've been looking forward to this for months.
I've never been to Bermuda or Alaska either. Those are two others.
Well, that's
I had a chance
states.
to go to Alaska, and
I've never been to. They say Alaskan cruises are great.
My parents went on one last summer, and they raved about it.
Everyone I know who did that said it was the greatest
do
thing in the world. And
That's
it's not that
if I
cold.
went to Alaska, that's the way I'd want to do it.
Because you're going like August, right? I mean,
Yeah, they went in the summer.
George has done it 4 or 5 times. Well, you know George well as I do.
Yeah.
Just about.
so that would be. I know some people want to see like every state. We were talking, what states have I not been to? It's not that many. Mostly in the Northwest. Like I haven't been to Washington.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been
Idaho,
to
Oregon.
I haven't been to Montana.
Me
Montana,
either.
just the Northwest, and I don't know about the Dakotas. So it's there's less
I don't
than-
think you're missing out.
Yeah, I don't think I'm.
There's less than 10 states I've been
Yeah,
to.
I don't think that even bothers me not going. in the
I'd rather go to other
Dakotas.
countries than other states.
But I'm just trying to think what else. Never sat down and really one thing I thought about. I'm not going to do it just because I'm done taking tests. But the highest failure, I passed 3 bar exams. And the highest failure rate on any one is the California bar exam. I have no interest in practicing in California. But I was like, I want to take that.
You want to know if you can
I can
pass.
pass, yeah. It's like a challenge.
Can you just sign up and take it?
Yeah, I could. But I don't really think I have it in me to study
Did
anymore.
Kardashian ever pass it?
She
She
hasn't-
took the baby bar, I
She's
thought.
taken, supposedly, she's taken it.
So
in-
she's not taking the same thing as everybody else has?
Well, no, in California, they have what they call a baby bar. It's a preliminary bar exam you can take. And that qualifies you to take. She passed it. She took it like 3 times, passed it on the 3rd attempt, I think. But she's taken the main California bar exam. I think she's taken that in February. Or it
like
might
now.
even be.
Oh, she is.
Well, they usually give it twice a year.
So you have to take the baby bar if you didn't actually go to law school
Correct.
to then be able to take the main bar exam.
Correct. And you have to pass the baby bar. Because California has.
Basically, like you just teach yourself what you would have learned in the school.
They have it so wide open path to become a lawyer. Like no other state allows you to not go to law school, but they do. You can study on your own, or they also have what they call unaccredited law schools that are much cheaper tuition, and it's only good in California. Like if Kim passes, she'll only be able to practice in California, which I think that's fine with her. But I think I read that they give the bar exams twice a year. I want to say it's February and July. So I think she's scheduled, which would be it's usually the last week. So that would be next week. I don't know if she's taking the bar exam next week. Well, she was on that Saturday Night Live 50, so I don't think she was studying. There's no way if that were me a week or 2 before, I would have been flying to New York,
Yeah.
Who knows, maybe she studied all the way.
She seems like she's nonstop working, so.
But I'm rooting for her. I know not everybody likes Kim Kardashian, but just the whole idea of what she's done, just to even pass the baby bar, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
To study.
I'll tell you, she's like, little Tony must be studying. I shouldn't even bring this up.
He was on the show, Anthony Lake. I'm good friends with his father. He goes to Stetson Law School, so he's doing very well.
He must be studying a lot more. I don't see him around that much.
That's why I told him. I said, look, this is your job. Law school's a job.
Yeah, for sure.
The next thing that I don't want to bore our viewers. We have talked about in some episodes is I want to talk a little bit about economics. I know you guys have heard Trump instituted what they call tariffs against Mexico and Canada, 25%. And tariffs have been around for hundreds of years where, say, let's just say we put a tariff on Japanese cars. So say that car costs $20,000 and we have a 25% tariff. Now, for the Japanese to sell that car, they have to pay that extra 25% to the U.S. government.
So they got to pay $25,000.
Well, what happens though is every economist that you'll ever talk to will say tariffs are bad.
What do you think?
Well, Well, I think Trump's doing it for other reasons. Like he's trying to use these tariffs to get Canada and Mexico to stop fentanyl from coming in or illegal immigration. He's got other motivations besides economics. But there are some. What I'm reading now is, and another thing. Tariffs are. I agree that tariffs are not good, but many countries, their trade policies are unfair to us. So Trump's trying to get them to say, listen, I'll drop the tariffs if you give us a square deal in your country. Because
do the same in return.
Because the U.S. In a lot of areas is dominant. Now you could say, well, everybody in the U.S. is driving foreign cars. But like agricultural products were dominant. Like so many areas where our products are the best. And they either won't let us sell them there or they will, but there's a high tariff. So Trump is just trying to negotiate fair trade deals. And they're even talking about, it's been proposed of eliminating the IRS. Because it costs a lot of money to pay the employees. And you say, how could that be possible? We don't have to pay taxes? Because they're saying if with the money we get from these tariffs, and if these other countries give us a fair deal.
We would never have to pay IRS?
I don't know that it'll ever happen.
Jeez.
But Joe got a big refund. He don't care. He wants it to stay.
Well, this year I do it after that.
But that would be amazing because they're saying if the money we collect from tariffs and if these other countries lower their tariffs, there'd be enough money coming in that could potentially, I don't know if this could ever happen, eliminate the IRS.
Yeah.
Also, Elon Musk is head of this DOG, Department of Government Efficiency, to cut waste and fraud, and he's proposing every American get a check for $5,000.
Every American?
Every citizen, yeah.
Wow.
That pays taxes.
Right.
So I'm like, that wouldn't be bad.
Oh, jeez.
So we'll see if any of this stuff ever happens. Mm-hmm. But the tariffs are 25% against Canada and Mexico and 10%.
Is this live? Is it already happening?
Yeah, it's already happening.
Wow, he's moving quick.
So, but what happens is why economists are against this is what happens is they just raise their price. Like the country coming in, say Japan, say Canada oil. We import oil from Canada. Canada has vast natural resources. So the Canadians are just going to jack the price of
the oil that we need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens with these tariffs, but most economists will tell you that I think that tariffs should be frowned upon. Now there are times where they'll use them, like some countries that maybe are just starting industry. Like for years, amazing, only until recently, not that many countries even made cars. Like it would be the U.S., Japan, China's auto industry is still pretty young.
Yeah.
So what some countries will do is if they start a new industry, they'll put tariffs out there to try to help their budding industry get established. And then eventually the goal is to take them away.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens if we get rid of the IRS. But I'm sure like almost every government agency, there's so much waste. Like the cost to collect the taxes is really high. You're paying these people a lot of money. They get retirement benefits. They have management, layers of management. I think I read in Sarasota where we live that they have parking meters downtown. Mm-hmm. It costs more to collect the money
than what they charge
because they have those people driving around them scooters to make sure that I mean, if they say if you get rid of that, I don't know if that's correct.
No, I got two of them at the beach club. That's why I refused a $63 ticket, a $43 ticket. That shithole. Sorry.
Whoa.
Sorry about that. Asshole.
I normally try to ignore competitive podcasts, but do you guys know who Nikki Bella is? She was a wrestler. Nikki Garcia, Nikki Bella. She was in the WWE. She's like 40 years old, very, very attractive, great body. She was engaged to John Cena, the actor, former wrestler, and then the wedding was canceled like a week before.
Nikki Bella.
Bella. But she has a podcast with her sister.
John Cena is.
I don't know.
So anyway, John Cena is an actor, and he was a wrestler. So
I know him.
she was engaged to him that broke up, and she got married to one of the guys, a dancer on Dancing with the Stars.
Okay.
And they just got divorced. So now they're talking about she's divorced, what are you going to date? And she said she wants to try retired guys.
Dating retired men.
She's like 40 years old. And I'll read the quote.
Well, yeah, that would make sense.
She's like, where are the retired ones? The ones that have some wisdom and age and experience life a little bit. I'm like, yes. Nikki, I give you the open invite to come on the TomCast in Sarasota, Florida.
And you'll date her.
I will date her.
As a 40-year-old
I will
woman.
drive her she will go to Hooters.
So you're increasing your
I'll even take
age
her,
range.
yeah, right.
I like this, Tom.
Nikki's
New
in
year,
good
new
shape.
Tom.
Nikki's in good shape.
Oh my God.
So I give her the open invite of I'm not retired. I don't plan to retire for a while.
But you're
But
not working the way you were 15 years ago, right?
That's right. Well, I don't know. No, when I was young, I worked like crazy, like 80, 90 hours a week. Yeah. I look back at it and I wonder why I did that. But
yeah, talk to Trey for me.
now we're going to talk a little legal stuff since I am an attorney in 4 states. There's an Ohio woman. She's like 60 years old. She's suing her employer for reverse discrimination. This is like kind of a landmark case.
I don't get it. What's it?
Her superiors are gay.
Her superiors are gay.
So she said she was passed over for promotion in favor of a gay woman and demoted in favor of a gay man.
She's saying she didn't get a promotion because she's not gay.
Correct.
It made them look better to promote the gay
They promoted gays
employee
ahead of her.
Now, how would you prove that?
Well, that's the problem. Well, her argument is, now the lower courts all dismiss this. It's going to the U.S. Supreme Court. She's saying simply discrimination is discrimination.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
They promoted gays who are less qualified than her.
So she would have to prove that they were vastly underqualified compared to her. You know what I mean? Like, it would have to be really, really obvious for her to then pull the card of they only got the promotion because they're gay. They had to, have sucked at the job.
It's going to be hard to prove. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Any
Unless they
discrimination is hard
sucked,
to
how
prove.
would they prove that? She might just have a hunch. Unless she overheard them having a conversation or saw an email, but I highly doubt they were that stupid.
But the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits discrimination based on sexual orientation.
Yeah, which I agree with.
But usually it's the other way. Like, it's the gay person saying, hey, they're not promoting me because I'm gay.
Well, that was kind of the whole thing with DEI, and people were uncomfortable with that new position because they were like, okay, are we only hiring people now because of the color of their skin or their sex or how they identify, or are we hiring the right person for the job? And I think that was the issue with that new segment of stuff that came out of 2020 is kind of when that happened, right? Yeah. But I just, like I said, I think it would be hard to prove.
See, I'm conflicted on this issue because I do believe for years minorities were discriminated against and had disadvantage in employment.
Absolutely.
Like, and as somebody, I grew up in New Jersey. The state's half Italian and half Jewish. So I got hired for jobs because of my name. Of course, in other places, it probably was a negative, A lot of places, the people probably hate Italians.
Well, it's just a tough thing to solve because if you start giving these companies quotas for how many black employees they have, how many gay employees they have, how many female employees, then you're not really hiring the right person for the job. You're only seeking out someone based on those characteristics or whatever you want to call it. But then again, it's how do you prove if they didn't hire someone because they didn't like the color of their skin? Obviously, that would be wrong and completely fucked up to do, but it's just tough to prove that. I don't even know what the solution is.
I guess they're going to, I don't know how you get into people's head. Even even not to defend Trump, since he first ran for president, people are like, oh, Trump's racist. I don't know one way or other if Trump's racist, but how do you get in the guy's head?
You would never know unless you were saying things that were racist.
Unless he just said it right out and
Yeah.
Which knowing him, he could have.
he might have, right?
Yeah, maybe actually.
Maybe somewhere he did. I
Back
don't
in
know.
the day.
I think there's people that said that. They heard that, but,
They would definitely have been clipped and put all over social media.
But that's a big thing to say someone's racist because you really have to get into their head.
Or you hear them say bad things.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard back in the day, people where I grew up say, one of my parents' friends that I don't like say the N-word. I'm like, she is racist. I hate that bitch. I don't want to be around her. But I feel like that doesn't happen that often. At least I haven't been surrounded by it.
You know what I saw more even when I was a kid is, I don't know, the attitude toward like gays was much worse. Like when I was a young kid.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
like
people would call them
are like, hey,
names.
no problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, now it's like, hey, whatever, no, what does it matter to me what you do?
Well, you know, in Sarasota, we celebrate Gay Pride. Like in like June, which is Gay Pride Month, we take like a really long rainbow flag and carry it over the Ring Lane Bridge, which I will be attending this summer.
All right. I can never understand that. Like, what skin is it off anyone's nose what people do in
Let
their
people be
bedroom?
happy. Yeah. My God, why do you care who they sleep with? It's stupid.
But it's going to be, the Supreme Court's going to hear the case. Now, unfortunately, historically, going back hundreds of years, the Supreme Court is politically motivated. Like, the reason abortion was ever legalized in 1973 was because of the makeup of the Supreme Court. Now, the Supreme Court, 9 justices, 6 are conservatives. So this court might buy the argument that this woman was discriminated against, but didn't get promoted because she's straight.
I think this is opening a bad can of worms.
But I've been in favor of, like, I just don't like, what really bothers me, I saw it even when I applied to colleges and everything, is the opportunity is given to the elite. You know, whether you have money or your family has connections. And there is, I'd like to see opportunity available to everyone.
For sure.
And it shouldn't be about, the color of your skin or how much money your father has or everything like that.
Yeah. So
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. We'll follow this case. It'll probably be a while until the Supreme Court hears the case and then the decision. The Supreme Court doesn't just give a decision like the next week. It could take months. So it'll really be interesting to see what happens with that. All right. Well,
it's funny because an offshoot to this, the 2 people playing golf. This Kai Trump with a granddaughter Trump. I mean, she's ranked like maybe 3,000 something in the women's. Now that doesn't. She's now. What is she? Marketing golf clubs now, and so is Charlie Woods. Now his numbers are not great at all. He's up over 1,000. His world ranking in the juniors is way up over 1,000. It's not really even. If they're in the top 125, okay, let them market, let them put their name on certain clubs. But this kid's well up over because he's Tiger Woods' son. He's able to market clubs, and because Donald Trump's granddaughter is Kai Trump, who's actually ranked. I'm just looking at the rankings. They would never let these people participate in some of the crap.
did you ever see her?
Kai Trump. I don't know. I've never met her, but apparently,
I think she's like 18 or 17.
But I mean, she's
all right, Tom.
She's like 4,000.
Not be a pedophile.
She's 4,000 in the world and going to get probably some sort of royalties on marketing these golf
Wasn't
clubs.
it kind of like Bronny?
Bronny's gonna. I said it last week or the week before. He only went to college for a short time. He's gonna be all right. Will he be as good as Dad? No way.
Right, but the point is, do you think he would have ever made it into the NBA without the name?
I think if he would have done 4 years of college
without the name,
yeah, absolutely.
But he's closer than he's
showing signs of ability. Like, I think, will he be a superstar in the league? Yeah. I'm not saying that, but he'll be a good NBA player for a long time. That's my prediction.
This kid's going to tournaments and shooting in the 80s.
Well, yeah, he definitely will be because of his name.
Yeah, because of his,
But there's no way to prove it.
But at least he's.
That's the problem.
Even him, he shouldn't be getting royalties. I don't know. Here you are, they're leaving kids out that are probably in the top 100 in the world. That's infinitesimally better than what Kai Trump and Charlie Woods are. It's like, hey, earn your spot. Otherwise, don't give them shit. Sorry.
I don't think either one are going to go hungry anytime soon.
It'll be fine.
They'll be all right.
I get that off my chest, I guess.
if either of them need an agent or an attorney, TominatorLaw.com. Charlie Woods, Kai Trump, shout out.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have 100 of them each.
I'll have Trump and Woods call me. Who the hell are you?
I have invited President Trump on. He was on, what show did I watch Tuesday night?
Get a hold of
what's the guy? Sean Hannity. Trump and Elon Musk were combined interview on Hannity. I invite both of them to be on the TomCast, Trump and Elon Musk.
I better shut up.
Tells it like it is on the TomCast.
Oh, God.
No holds barred. So anyway, I'm doing, I started to say I'm doing open mic night at McCurdy's tonight at 9 o'clock from 9 to 10. I don't know how many people there are. They don't tell, they confirmed today. They don't tell you how many are signed up. I'm not going to be first or second, but it's 5 minutes. I get to do 5 minutes. I actually timed my act 3 times this morning. Came in at like 4:30, 4:40. So I'm in the 5 minute range.
Oh,
I'm
right.
so excited.
5 minutes is a long time.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be great.
I don't know about that.
I'll be recording it, that's for sure.
I'm sharing some story. I'm sharing like it ends. I have a true story about something that happened to me many years ago. And I think it's pretty funny.
All right.
I think I have a few good lines in there.
I hope. We don't want you to bomb.
I don't want to get booed off. It's in the bar. It's not on the main stage.
Well, I'm just like nervous. Like, what if you go after someone really, really good? You know, like you almost will hope you go after someone that totally fucking
Somebody
sucks.
said that I want to be first. So
Yeah. Not last either. Like ends on, you know. I think
the one
I've
thing
heard
about
some of your
going last
jokes.
is I can put in some lines about putting down the other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the question is, how hammered are you going to be by 9 o'clock? I mean, that's a long time from now.
I need to be loosened up, but not hammered.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'll tell you a true story to end the podcast today. I'm taking the Florida bar exam in Tampa, and it's 3 hours in the morning. It's 9 to 12, and then the 2 hour lunch break, then 2 to 5. So I didn't know anyone there, but I met this guy from Miami, and he was had gone to University of Florida undergraduate and University of Michigan Law School, which is big time, you know. And he's like, we just started talking, and then he's like, oh man, I blew it. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, the Florida law part. I'm like, they didn't teach you Florida law in Michigan? He goes, no. I'm like, well, you're taking the Florida bar. Didn't you think it would be on there and that you might study it? So there's not many places at that time near the place to eat. So it's not there anymore. There was a Hooters. Within walking. So I go to the Hooters. He comes with me. We're eating lunch and I order a shot. You're doing a shot? I'm like,
In the middle of the bar.
I'm like, maybe you order too. I said, I'm not going to get hammered. Just take the edge off.
Yeah. Right, you need 2 hours.
Yeah. So I did a shot to just loosen me up.
And you passed.
I killed it, yeah.
Hell yeah.
I don't know how he did. I was going to keep in touch, but we never did.
Oh, too bad.
So anyway, my point of the story is that maybe do a few to get the edge off.
Yeah, for sure.
Calm me down.
Yeah.
You see some of these comics, like the big-time comics, are hammered or on drugs when they come. They're not all of
Sometimes
them.
they're funnier when they're drunker, you know?
Like
Maybe you'll throw in a new joke. You never know. We don't know what's going to happen. I've been waiting for this for like 3 months. Because they get booked really quick.
This is crossed off my bucket list.
Yeah.
Check.
The stand-up.
I need to add stuff to the bucket list.
The stand-up comic.
Who knows? Maybe I'll get a contract.
Yeah.
Some agent will see me and I'll be doing.
You'll get a
I'll
whole
be doing
set.
Amali Arena,
Yeah.
21,000 people.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That'd be something.
Well, it'll be something to tell your kids about one day. Or play the video at parties. You have a party, things are getting slow. Let's freak out my video. All right, guys. Well, thanks again. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Another episode of TomCast.